Woo, that was a little bit overzealous of me. I apologize. I got everybody's attention though, I hope. Let's see, Mike, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the September 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting for North Bend. Can the clerk please call roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Mark Jocelyn, Councilmember Brendan Elwood,
Present.
Councilmember Alan Gotthelf,
Here and awake now.
Councilmember Heather Cullen,
Here.
Councilmember Christina Rustic,
Present.
Councilmember Susan Torgerson,
Here.
Councilmember Errol Tremolata.
Here.
All are present with the exception of Councilmember Jocelyn, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Will you be able to lead us in the flag salute?
The flag of the United States, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us tonight, whether you're in front of us, literally, and online. Thank you. We always welcome your presence and your input, comments. Before we move on to consent agenda, we will be pulling number 4, AB 25-085, from consent and moving that to the introductions as number 12. Just note that, please. Let's see, we will now move on to consent agenda. We have 6 items on our consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Can I get a second? Motion made by Mr. Gotthelf and seconded by Mr. Brendan Elwood. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Audience participation.
Mayor, before you move on, did you have something else to announce, the executive session?
Oh, I just zoomed on by that one. Okay, our executive session, which was scheduled for tonight at the end of the meeting, has been canceled. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll now move on to audience participation. Since we'll no longer be taking public comment after every item on the main agenda, now would be the time to come forward to the podium to comment on agenda items or any other item you wish to speak to. If you have requested accommodation with the city clerk and wish to speak through the virtual platform, please raise your hand after in-person comments and we will take your comments. Please remember to state your name, your address for the record, and the item which you wish to speak to, particularly if it's on the agenda, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Do we have anybody tonight? Hi, Gary. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Mayor Miller, City Council, and North Bend staff. My name is Gary Fancher, and I have lived in River Ridge by Twin Falls Middle School since 2003. I spent 7 years on the North Bend Planning Commission, at least 3 of those as the chair, and I'm in my 7th year on the Snoqualmie Valley School District School Board of Directors. I am also president of our River Ridge HOA. And I am not opposed to any growth in our rural city. It's done harmoniously. But today I bring to your attention a significant concern regarding item 12 of the recently passed 6-year TIP on June 17th. Before the area of Wood River was annexed into the city, King County had a plan for a roundabout at Middle Fork Road, Southeast 140th and 468th Avenue Southeast intersection. The language in your update now proposes its use as, quote, a truck turnaround to include provisions for pedestrian and bicycle travel, such as sidewalks and bike lanes. This plan raises critical issues related to safety, health, and community integrity. I am expressing my serious concern about the proposed use of the new roundabout for commercial semi-trucking in an area where school children as young as 10 are required to walk to middle school. Semi-trucks near school zones significantly increase the chances of accidents, obstruct visibility, and create hazardous conditions, particularly for children. Roundabouts further exacerbate these risks by allowing semi-trucks to encroach on pedestrian pathways. Semi-trucks also will add to congestion during school dismissal times, creating unsafe and chaotic conditions for children and families. The proposal also conflicts with the heightened safety standards required for school zones stated in RCW 28A.320.125. Research indicates also that diesel trucks are responsible for a majority of traffic-related air pollution, including fine particulate matter and nitrogen oxide. This pollution is particularly harmful for children, who are more vulnerable due to their developing lungs and higher air intake relative to their body weight. Truck traffic compromises safety, raising the risk of abduction and other criminal activities due to obstructed visibilities and reduced law enforcement effectiveness, as stated in RCW 28A.320.168, findings of 223. Studies have shown that these areas with high truck traffic experience increased crime rates, further endangering our community. To address these concerns, I propose several alternate solutions. First, we could redirect commercial traffic to Southeast 140th, Southeast 146, or Southeast North Bend Way, keeping industrial routes separate from residential and school areas. This would significantly reduce the risks associated with semi-trucks near school zones. Alternatively, we could also use adjacent lots specifically for truck traffic, ensuring that these vehicles are kept away from the schools and neighborhoods. Finally, we could strengthen safety measures by increasing law enforcement presence during peak hours. I can summarize the rest. I just have a couple sentences. I strongly urge the city to prioritize the safety of our children and integrity of our neighborhoods by reconsidering this plan and exploring these alternate solutions. Furthermore, we must protect the natural beauty and ecological integrity of nearby landmarks such as the Middle Fork
Thank you, Gary.
NRPA and Mount
Sorry to
Baker Snoqualmie
interrupt.
National Forest. These are vital to our community and our environmental recreational well-being. And I'm willing to assist with any of these solutions and strongly encourage you to engage with the county, state,
Thanks,
and
Gary.
federal partners, because our city of less than
We
9,000
have to
residents
close.
cannot fund the regional and national trucking solution alone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Anybody else wish to speak? You have 3 minutes. Thank you, Anne. Welcome.
Thanks. So hi, I don't have a complaint. I ran into Mayor Miller the other day and I was talking to her about this running event that I go to, a running and walking event. And she said, come share about it at the city council. And I said, I thought those meetings were only for complaining. So she said they aren't. So I wanted to share with you about Park Run. It is an international event. There are more than 2,000 of them around the world. It is a free timed 5K. It happens every Saturday morning over at Tollgate Farm Park. And we have people come from all over the world. People are park run tourists. So we have people from Australia and the UK and you name it, South Africa. Anyway, I wanted to invite more people to come. You can run or walk. It's not a race. There's no pressure. It's incredibly friendly and accepting. And we could use volunteers because it's all run by volunteers. So I was wondering if you all would be willing to put it on the city website and send out those notices like you do about the farm stands and stuff. So that's my request. I can give you more information about it if you tell me what channel would be good.
You know, Anne.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Come and join. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Tony Julian. I live on Ballarat. I'm concerned about the speeding and the exhausts that are modified, and they're flying through the neighborhoods all hours of the night, disrupting the neighborhood, waking people up. And I don't know if speed cameras or speed bumps, because it's difficult for Snoqualmie to set up radar on those stretches of roads because there's nowhere for them to really sit. So I was wondering if you guys had actually thought about anything on that. Because it's just getting worse. I mean, so anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Anybody else? And we have Michael. See,
Michael Thomas is online.
hi, Michael, you're on. Can you hear us? Mike,
Are you there?
absolutely.
Hey, Michael Thomas, 1231 LaForest Drive, SE. Good to see some familiar faces and others at the City Council. I wanted to comment on two items, one of which was actually a consent agenda item, which I asked for a modification to. I spent about 18 months deeply with the county on septic code revisions and understanding, how septic functions and the importance of stormwater. I feel an appropriate add, and perhaps this can be addressed in the margin of the studies with PH Consultants under, I think it was AB 25090, not 90, 088, on the sidewalk study is I do request that you map the septic systems within 500 feet of any of these sidewalks projects. It's important that, stormwater be correctly managed to ensure the function of these septic systems. And many of these are in unsewered areas with little or no opportunity for development or sewering. This also can drive up, costs of replacement and or drive systems to failure if stormwater is improperly managed, along with, items of concern such as flooding crawls in nearby properties. So please add that to the study if possible. And again, it's for the benefit of other septic users and others in the area that may not be aware of that item and its impact on sidewalks. And the second item I have a comment on was the revision to the e-motorcycle or e-bike laws. I took a brief read of this, and I feel that this needs more citizen input and comment. One area that I stumbled on, which was the definition of an electric motorcycle. It seems to me that, a high-powered electric motorbike is just simply a motorbike. But as I read one of the sections, and it's in the comments of the council, it appears that that would be outlawed for anything over 25 miles an hour in the right of way. I also have other concerns about the speed of some of the e-scooter and other e-bike technology. And perhaps some of their speeds are too great considering our bike lanes and or crosswalks and or road curb and site restrictions. I'm concerned that there's an accident waiting to happen because the rate of speed of these things in pedestrian or bike lanes may be too high for vehicles to avoid, or even maybe the cause of pedestrian or bike to e-device collision. Lastly, I want to support Mr. Fancher in his comments around adding a roundabout in the area of Middle Fork near Trucktown. That is definitely inappropriate for any kind of commercial vehicle roundabout and puts, hazards in proximity to the school as well as to other neighborhoods there. This not only applies to the Trucktown, but really applies to any large commercial development such as, industrial manufacturing and or other areas where there might be high commercial vehicle traffic, such as for, forklifts or other devices in the area. So again, I wanted to express just my support for Mr. Fancher's position that a roundabout there is not the best idea. Thank you. And this concludes my comment.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody else online?
No one else
Okay,
online.
thank you. Before I possibly forget, thank you to all who spoke tonight and online and in person. We appreciate it very much. Let's see, we will now move on to announcements, presentations, and appointments. Item number 8, AB 25-089, youth appointment to Parks Commission. Planning Commission youth position number 5 became vacant with the expiration of Ethan Eusebio's term on August 31st, 2025. On July 22nd, myself, City Administrator Amber Emery, CED Director James Henderson, and Planning Manager Mike McCarty interviewed Aileen. Did I get it wrong again?
No.
Oh, hallelujah. Thank you. Aileen Eusebio for the youth position for the 2025-2026 school year. I'm recommending the appointment of Aileen as the youth member on the Parks Commission due to her enthusiasm to serve as a volunteer in the community and her passion for recreation and outdoors. We want to meet her? Let's make sure that she's here first of all and go through with it, but then we'll meet her, right? So Councilmember Gottelf, will you please make the motion?
Absolutely. Motion to approve AB 25-089, confirm the appointment of Aileen Eusebio, is that right?
Yep.
To the youth member position number 5 on the Parks Commission, term expiring August 31st, 2026.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Gottelf and seconded again by Mr. Brennan Elwood. Let's see, Aileen, will you please come to the podium and tell us about yourself and why you're interested in serving the Parks Commission? And you just got off a plane, so I am so impressed all the more to you and your family for making it here.
Hi, I'm Aileen Eusebio. I'm a sophomore at Mount Si High School, and I'm really excited to serve as the Youth Parks Commissioner this year. I'm looking forward to working to help make North Bend like a more welcoming place and a really fun place to be around. And I'm just really excited for this new learning opportunity.
Fantastic. Hold it right there if you don't mind. I think our council would like to talk or chat with you or say something very pleasant, I'm sure. We shall begin with right to my direct left, Councilmember Rustick.
Thank
Take it
you,
away.
Mayor. Yes, I just wanted to say thank you, and we really appreciate it. I read through your resume and I'm like, wow, she's really busy with a lot of things. So really appreciate you spending your time in this endeavor and hope you have a successful year. Thank you.
Anybody else from council wish to say a comment? Councilmember Colon.
I want to thank you too. It's really important to volunteer and your efforts are very, very important and I appreciate it a lot. So thank you.
Anybody else? Brendan, then Susan.
Nice to meet you and thank you very much for stepping up to serve your community. And I think you've picked the right path. Parks are fun. So hopefully it excites you to do more when it comes to local government leadership down the road. So thank you and welcome aboard.
And Susan.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. And I hope you learn a lot out of it too. I mean, it's a great opportunity, new experiences and stuff, and then it might give you like a light where you want to go in your life. So it's always good to do an internship kind of deal, and I think you're going to get a lot more out of it than you really think. And I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for us to be able to give that opportunity to you too, because it's going to be great to have your input.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Mr. Gatto.
I'm honored to have nominated you. I'm so proud when our young members come up and step up to here. I think it's great. And like they said, I hope it inspires you to get involved. We need more young people in this government area and supporting what government comes. So thank you.
You and Errol.
Yeah, thank you for stepping up. And I am the newest council member on this board, one of the newest, I should say. So I just want to encourage you, bring ideas. Don't be shy, raise your hand. That's what I'm looking for. I try to bring that to this group, and I definitely want to hear what you think after you get settled in at the parks. So thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Errol. And if I can say a few words, I'm so impressed by you to begin with, and that you mentioned your brother is inspiring you to step forward. Last year, as we just said, Ethan was part of the position that you're currently going to come into. So it's wonderful that it's a family, a wonderful thing to do as a family unit. So that's great. And we hope for the best for you. Okay, so just hold it right there. We're going to confirm your appointment. Council, the motion before you is to approve AB 25-089, confirming the appointment of Aileen Eusebio to youth member position number 5 on Parks Commission, term expiring August 31st, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is unanimous. Thank you again. All right, we're going to go up and I'll present. And camera ready? Okay. Got this. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to add it to you. Congratulations. Yeah, you're amazing. Cool girl. Yeah. Okay, would you like a picture? Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, all right. Item number 9. You guys all ready? King County Search and Rescue. Carrie Lee, fabulous Carrie Lee, come to the podium, please. We will be excited to hear all about what you have to share for us tonight.
Well, thank you, Mayor and
You.
City Council reps. I am Carrie Lee Ganning. I'm the Executive Director for King County Search and Rescue Association. I've been in this position since January of last year. Really blessed to be able to do the work and support our incredible volunteers, whom we now call unpaid professionals, because that really is what they are. Next slide, please. So what is King County Search and Rescue Association? We were founded back actually in 1965 to unite these specialized units in their collective work to support outdoor recreationists and really bring them home to their loved ones in the many different ways that means for those families. We do coordinated trainings, operations, unified voice and advocacy efforts, strategic partners with agencies and communities, which is one of the reasons we're here today. shared resources and expertise across the 9 member units, and then public education. Next slide, please. This is the timeline. Seattle Mountain Rescue is actually the very first Mountain Rescue Council. We're really proud that they are a member unit of CSARA. We then had Explorer Search and Rescue, which is our greatest force multiplier. They're the largest member unit that we do have, followed by King County 4x4, which is your logistics, your vehicles, your ham radio operators. They do a lot of the landing zone support work from that. And those were the 3 founding member units for CSARA. And as search and rescue evolved, so did the development or the evolution of the units that came after. Next slide. The member units all have a unique place. We are calling it the SAR ecosystem, and North Bend, you do have a place in that SAR ecosystem. It's what makes this work. You don't only have to be a member of Search and Rescue to be a part of that SAR ecosystem, but also an echo chamber. So when we send out messages, letters of support, which Mayor Miller has done for us a few times, showing up to the events and just being a friendly face in the community for us, that all encompasses that SAR ecosystem. We're also working with small businesses and corporations to kind of build out from King County, or throughout King County, excuse me. In the past 3 years, 483 missions in King County alone. To put that into context, there's between 900 to 1,000 missions throughout Washington state, and King County holds 483 of those. And that was a stat pulled from Washington EMD, the end of 2024. Next slide. What does this mean to you? This is North Bend. Now remember, I just gave you the number 483 missions. January 1 of 2021 to December 31st of 2024, 57 missions were at Little Cy, Mount Cy, Tenerife, that area. We then had 22 at Middle Fork, Otter Falls. We had at Rattlesnake. Then we had 26 at Middle Fork, Alder Falls, and then Mailbox. We've all seen them. You've seen it again and again and again this season. They're right in your backyard. We're very busy in the North Bend Gateway community area. Next slide. We also had the Rapid Alpine deployment season that is getting ready to wrap up. Teams are staffed every weekend. To put that into context, if you were to staff Trailhead ambassadors to do the work that our RAD teams do, for 10 weekends for the summer, it'd be $45,000 for 2 people. Search and Rescue staffs a minimum of 4, up to 6, every weekend from the first weekend in May to the last weekend in September, and they hit over 286 trailheads in that time. We had 14 missions in the area, and they did over 17 public outreach events in that time, all for volunteers. Or all from volunteers. Next slide. This is just Washington state at a glance. Next slide. King County is actually very lucky. The King County Air Support Unit is the one and only dedicated air support unit with a helicopter with hoist capabilities in all of Washington state. And we work for them, which is fantastic. Next slide. I think we've all been looking at tourism, especially with 2026 on the horizon. 615 volunteers spread across 9 member units. When we're looking at the increase in tourism, it's increased by 9% since 2022. That ratio with 615 volunteers is 1 volunteer for every 65,000 people that are out on the trails during our busy season. It's a lot of work, but they love what they do. Next slide. Operational expenses and funding, outdoor recreation, 2.2% of the GDP. We are very lucky to live in a state that funds some element of SAR. We have a SAR manager through the Washington Emergency Management Division 1, and we do get reimbursed for some costs, but our operational expenses exceed $400,000 a year, and that's all on donations or the volunteers themselves paying for the work that they do. Next slide. What we're working on today, communication and messaging, coordinating with our partners. What does that mean? a lot of things, especially in North Bend. We've been really lucky to make some great partnerships, working with the North Bend Downtown Foundation, Snow Valley Chamber, and working on King County-wide messaging strategies, the Recreate Responsible Coalition as well. We're also looking at sustainable funding and growth, and this includes what does it mean for disaster preparedness or that enhanced preparedness posture throughout King County, because it's not just the Valley. It's King County wide, and there's volunteers throughout King County that are those force multipliers that have that baseline training, and they're emergency workers. They can do the work. Organizational development, we need a home. And then volunteer recruitment and retention, understanding and supporting the why. How do we keep them? Because again, they're not just volunteers. These are nurses, doctors, EMTs, Microsoft techies. They are incredible professionals out there bringing those loved ones home. How do we keep them and really recognize and honor the work that they do? And so I actually brought 3 with me because they can tell you the why. So without further ado, Colin from 4x4.
Thank you, Carrie Lee, and welcome, Colin.
Thank you very much, Mayor Miller, council members, and staff. I joined 4x4 Search and Rescue about 4 years ago, give or take. And the reason I was drawn to it is because it overlapped with really 3 of my core passions. Number 1, helping others. Number 2, driving. And number 3, the outdoors. And little did I know I was going to actually cover many, many more of my passions beyond that. 4x4 is, as Carrie Lee mentioned, the logistics part of search and rescue first and foremost. We do transportation. We do a lot of communications work. We are kind of just the jack of all trades around the command post and just making sure that the field teams have what they need and can accomplish their jobs, while also getting out into the field when it comes to road searching and pitching in where we can that way. Since joining, it has just been an incredibly rewarding experience to make somebody's life better, to take somebody on what is potentially the worst day of their life and turn it into something that is good and maybe even positive. The most impactful mission that I've ever been on was actually, it ended up being out in Kittitas County. We did a mutual aid support out there for a 10-year-old girl that went missing. And you guys may have seen this. It did hit the news. She ended up being missing for over 24 hours. On that mission as 4x4, we were doing containment and road searching, looking for her. This was getting to near freezing overnight. We worked through the night. I got about 2 hours of sleep that night. And we ended up landing helicopters the next day. We stood up an ad hoc landing zone in the middle of the forest and facilitated helicopters coming through as they were doing air searching. The most impactful moment for me was I got actually put onto the radios in the command van because the the volunteer from Kittitas County had been up literally all night and needed a break. And I ended up being on the radio when the girl was found. And that was probably one of the biggest adrenaline rushes of my life. Hearing that call saying subject was located, that she was okay. And we brought her home that day, and seeing her being passed around through all of her family's arms, there was many, many family members that showed up, was remarkable and incredible. And everything from just bringing somebody with a twisted ankle down or to that where we truly did save a life that day, it's just incredibly rewarding, while also getting to exercise a lot of the skills and passions that I have. So it's been an incredible experience. And I look forward every day to continuing to do it. So I want to thank you for having us, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Colin. Hold on for just a sec. I'm going to go off script a tiny bit because we have some people that we'd love to have council have questions or answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
at this moment, is there any questions or comments that council would like to make for Colin? Heather.
Thank you. You make me want to cry, and
I was tearing up.
And I really appreciate you volunteering and using your passion, and it's super important. And I want to help you guys with whatever we can.
Thank you.
Got some wet eyes at the table here. Anybody else?
Oh, I think Kristen, I just had a question.
Yeah.
So we do, living here in North Bend, frequently hear the helicopters that are flying, and I know that's just a small portion of what you do. Can you explain the picture there on the right-hand side? I'd like to understand that better.
I don't actually know the specifics of that one. There's a good likelihood that was a training, but maybe not. I will say when it comes to vehicle rescues, this is where 4x4 is interesting. We're in search and rescue to save people. We are not a towing service. We don't save vehicles. In certain circumstances, we will recover a vehicle, but it's going to be when it's relatively simple and not complex. That's left to the towing services. But we do train on vehicle recovery for ourselves because we often get into somewhat hairy situations, into the nastiness. And if our vehicle gets stuck, we want to get ourselves out and get each other out.
And Alan.
She asked the question I had. I was wondering, years ago when I was younger, I used to do off-road, and that didn't look like that was a plan thing.
Right.
But I have a dear friend that had been involved in search and rescue. And I know through the time at Eastside Fire and Rescue, we've stored some of your vehicles and we store them here. And you guys do a lot of work with not a lot of praise. And I just want to tell you, so honored that you came to talk to us and really want your people to understand you really do a great job and at no cost to this community and to King County. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I believe next is Doug from Seattle Mountain Rescue.
Fantastic. Welcome, Doug. Great to see you always.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm Doug Cayley with Seattle Mountain Rescue, and I thought I'd take a little bit of time and introduce you to what Seattle Mountain Rescue is. It started in, well, first of all, everybody in Mountain Rescue is a skilled climber before they can get into the unit. Started in 1948 is when we were incorporated. And really back in the 1940s, it was really a different world. The peaks were much more remote. There were far fewer people out on the peaks. If you were climbing someplace and slipped, fell down and landed on some rocks, your choices and for how to get help were really limited at that time. You didn't have cell phones, you didn't have satellites, no inReaches. And so, well, once you got through laying there hurting and deciding that maybe you really should have taken up basketball instead of climbing, then your next choice is, there was always, you had to have at least 3 people in a party so that one person could stay with the injured person, one person could hike out. And you also had somebody back in town that was watching, and you said, I will be back at this time. If I'm not, call the authorities for help. So the next question is, in the 1940s, who did they call for help? There were no organized rescue units. So there was one climber by the name of Omi Diber who had lots of friends, and he would just organize. And if you were a good climber and were willing to help, you gave your name to Omi. And when he got a call, he would just call out all of his friends and they'd come out and rescue you. And after, when 1948 came along, they said, well, we probably should organize this a little more formally. So they incorporated, and that's when Seattle Mountain Rescue was started. And that is still the way, that has really set the precedence for how Seattle Mountain Rescue works. You come and ask to join, you ask to help, you present a resume, show that you're an experienced climber, and then you get voted in, you come out and help. It seems like a lot of work to go through to volunteer and help, but we want to make sure that we've got the best out there. Things, of course, have really changed a lot since then. Now, most of our calls come in via cell phone. And when you call 911 on your cell phone, your location is put on a map that all the rescuers have access to. So typically within 3 to 4 minutes of getting a call, all of the rescuers out there have a little blinking blue dot as to where you are. Helps tremendously on our response time. We know what kind of conditions and what we're getting into when we go to do that. And of course, the other is the satellite devices like inReaches and now the cell phones. My prediction is the inReaches and those things are eventually going to go away, and we'll all just be using our cell phone for yet another thing that you can use cell phones for. Since 2020, Seattle Mountain Rescue has been housed in our headquarters just down the street off of Mount Si Road. That we're very honored to be part of the North Bend community and welcomed in there. We do a lot of training rescues, a lot of trail rescues, and we are within 5 miles of our 5 most popular trailheads: the Big Si, Little Si, Tenerife, Rattlesnake, and Mailbox. And yes, we did have 4 missions in 3 days on Mailbox in June this year. In a typical year, we will have about 110 missions that we'll go out on. And of course, June is our busiest month. And we're very busy in June this year as well. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of the history and what Seattle Mountain Rescue is.
Thank you, Doug. Any questions or comments from council for Doug? Okay, Errol, please.
How big is Seattle Mountain Rescue right now? In terms
It's 74 members. And how many we get on a mission really depends on the mission. If it's a real straightforward mission that's, a simple, our turnout's pretty low. But if they find out there's going to be rope work involved and dangling off of cliffs and dangerous things, then we'll get 15 people. Go figure that one.
I think
We just had a rescue, I want to say this weekend, where there was a helicopter at Torgerson Park to take, I believe, a hiker out. Were you part of that mission?
I was, yeah. That was off a Mailbox again.
Okay.
It was a hiker that was almost up at the top, had a leg injury, and we ended up flying her off just because the dangers of all the rescuers in bringing her all the way down that trail. If you've been up that trail, it's a very steep trail.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Susan.
Well, I was just gonna ask a question about that because I saw the helicopter, so I was curious. So asked and answered. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Anybody else from council? Thank you, Doug. Appreciate
Betcha.
everything you all do each and every day, each and every second of every day, I should say. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, Council, Mayor. I am Vincent. I am part of the Regional Special Vehicles Unit. I am a dual unit member. I am part of 2 separate units. I joined Search and Rescue 7-8 years ago. I ended up doing a hike in which I was not prepared at all. I almost became a mission. Middle of January, jeans, 15 miles in, started at 5 p.m. Went in, came out, texted my buddy, "Hey man, this is a great hike." And he's like, "Dude, you are dumb. How about you go join Search and Rescue and learn a thing or two?" And I haven't looked back. I have learned a lot. I started with Explorer Search and Rescue. A couple of years ago, I joined RSVU. I'm here to talk about RSVU. We are mostly, like Carrie Lee said, a force multiplier. So while units may have to hike in and bring all their gear, depending on the hike, that can be 3-4 hours to the top. On the back of a quad, that's an hour, 45 minutes. It really lets our teams stay fresh in the field for the actual rescue, as opposed to spending all their energy hiking up, needing to rest. That is more time, or that is a fast response for the subject to get them out there. We can haul in teams, we can haul in gear, and conditions permitting, we can haul out the subject too. So it really just lets other units perform at their best, and we kind of just get the busy work of it. We can also operate as separate radio relays in case we get too far away from our base of operations. Go up somewhere high, let teams talk, lets us operate out further than we normally would be able to. Search and Rescue is kind of just a good place to be. There's plenty of like-minded people there with you. It's a never say no kind of attitude. We are there to help the person who is injured, and we will do what we can, give what it takes to make sure that they can come home at the end of the day. I'm just wrapping it up for all 3 of us. Any questions?
You are all so awesome, but here we go again. Some more questions or comments. Errol, take it away.
Yeah, I guess this is probably a question I could have asked any of you, but I'll ask you. what, like tactically, how does a rescue work with, so if it's up on mailbox, there's a call in. Yeah, I imagine sheriffs getting dispersed, East Side Fire and Rescue, depending on the injury or if there is an injury, and then who's sort of task commander, who's sending you out? Do you have the green light to get out on the trail as fast as you can to be the first ones out there, or can you take us through that kind of scenario?
Yeah, sure. Let's do Tenerife because that's one that is more specifically oriented towards RSVU. As an RSVU member, if we get a mission for Tenerife, we are good to go. We have permission from the deputy to just deploy out. That is a trail that we know we can get up 95% of the way. Otherwise, you will work through the SAR deputy in charge. He will talk to the operation leaders who will then page out to their member units like, okay, hey, this is the sign up. This is where we go. Show up when you can. And then from there, it's all in field work, dispersing teams, figuring out assignments. If it's just a simple injured leg, top of mailbox or Tenerife, that is just go up, bring the gear, go get them. If it's a more broad search, we don't know where the person is, what conditions we're getting into, that might be a more tactical in-field decisions made.
Thank you, Vincent and Errol. Anybody else? Christina.
Yeah, it was mentioned about, communication, to be safe when people go out onto these trailheads. And, I think your story is, it resonates with a lot of people. So my question is, how can we help best get the word out so, we don't get inexperienced hikers going out at the wrong time in the wrong gear? What kind of things can we do to help with that communication?
KCSAR has a outreach program, and they are very good about putting out the type of information that you were specifically asking about. We're on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure we have a YouTube where it's just the information. If it's hot, bring extra water for you or someone else. What type of shoes to wear, what type of clothes to wear. If it's middle of winter, hey, make sure you bring extra heat packs, make sure you bring electrolytes. People don't realize that you get hypothermic when it's cold outside. So there's, as far as what the council can do for us, just forwarding on those links that we post to our social media would be extremely helpful. And then we also have a trailhead outreach programs, where our unit members will go out, post up at a trailhead and talk to people who come by and, oh, this is what we do. This is how you can stay safe. Of course.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Would it be helpful? We get a lot of tourists from the cruise ships from Seattle who are inexperienced. And I live near Twin Falls Hike, which is not a hard hike, but I've seen people in their high heels and jeans. I have seen it. And so I don't know, would it be helpful to put the word out to the cruise ships on safety in hiking?
I'm sure anything would be helpful. The more people who are being safe on their own is, one less response for someone that has been critically injured by no harm of their own.
Thank you, Vincent. Stay there. Carrie Lee in the background, if you'd like to say something, please come to the podium so we can all hear.
Vincent's actually doing a really good job of steering the ship, but I did want, one of the initiatives we're working on with Snow Valley Chamber is intended to answer that tourism question. So we actually used American Whitewater pictograms to have internationally translated language in pictures that we know people can recognize and understand. And so we've simplified the messaging. And we're more than happy to share that with you. But it basically, if you're on a trailhead exploring in King County and you get in trouble, call 911, call or text actually. And then it goes through what the process is going to be. So you hurt your ankle is the picture, and then a phone, call 911, and then it has a headset. Dispatch is going to get you help. And then there's little hikers. That's these guys. We're gonna come find you. And then there's the Band-Aid of you got brought back home. But the intention of that is to have it distributed throughout all lodging, Airbnbs when the cruise ships come on, magnetic picture on the back of the Trailhead Direct buses so that we can really zero in on that messaging. We're also working with some of our partners that manage a lot of the information that goes out about trail safety, so that we have a coalition in essence. So we're not siloed and we're not doing it independently. We're really breaking those down and working collectively. We've been doing it for over 6 years now, but we really, really hit the road probably in the last 18 months.
Fantastic. Curly, hold on for just a moment.
Sure.
Alan.
Yeah, I'm glad that there's some outreach out there, because what people need to know, and everybody in the video that's listening to, you guys go out there at your own risk. And every time you go out to a trail, it's a risk to yourselves. So I do appreciate that. And hopefully people that are out there do take notice of bringing the right equipment, make sure they're proper, so we can lower the amount of risk you guys have to take. But thank you again for all you do.
Thank you. Brendan.
Thank you all. What a wonderful presentation. Got introduced to a bunch of stats and facts and drove my awareness now. You know, I see your trucks driving around town, the helicopters. I'm like, oh, I wonder who they're saving today. But to meet you and hear some of these stories, I got to cry a little. That's why I couldn't speak. I was like Heather, and she started choking up. I knew I was going to go down that path as well. Then I got some fond, the legacy knowledge and feeling pride and humbled by just a group of people that love what they do, organizing together, that has had such longevity, that is an incredible asset to our community, is truly remarkable. And then I got to wrap with a laugh. I loved your story. I mean, this was a full emotional roller coaster, one of the best presentations I think we've had ever. But thank you all for what you do. I have tremendous respect for the sacrifices that you make and the commitment that you give to our community. And I don't think you get acknowledged enough. I don't know if there's more that we can do on our side, but I definitely am truly thankful and proud that you're out there doing what you do. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Errol.
Yeah, I want to echo that, and I'll probably speak a little bit out of turn, which is par for the course for me. But no, I do. This whole time I've jotted a whole bunch of notes of how can we help, how can we be more engaged, and I would encourage you to brainstorm with us on that. Whether it's, could you have a retail post or a desk at City Hall, or how can we be not only more engaged with our staff, but like Christina was saying, the folks that are coming into town, having more of a presence. Is there something we can do, like I said, from a retail front or from a street signage perspective? I think all of us here in this room know the challenges that we see every day, like when you guys are flying over above or the trucks are heading out. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a council that's very interested in engaging on that. So just encourage you to give us ideas on what we can do.
Thank you for that.
Anybody else? And I know you're not quite done with the presentation.
Well, actually, would you mind going 2 slides forward?
Thank you.
So don't have time to play this right now. However, I would highly recommend, if you want to get the word out about what it really means to serve. We were honored to have a corporate sponsor support the making of this video. And it really just takes you through the why and the what that they do every time they go out on a mission. This is a great video to share. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all very much. Very proud to call you amazing people doing amazing things.
I also like your stickers.
Oh. Stickers are great too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Amber, can you send that around to us?
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 10, Proclamation Senior Center Month. There are lights. Okay. Everybody ready? Okay, whereas older Americans are significant members of our society, investing their wisdom and their experience to help enrich and strengthen our community. And whereas Mount Si Senior Center has acted as a catalyst for mobilizing the creativity, energy, vitality, and commitment of the older residents of North Bend. And whereas through the wide array of services, programs, and activities, our community senior center empowers older citizens of North Bend to contribute to their own health and well-being and the health and well-being of their fellow citizens of all ages. And whereas Mount Si Senior Center has been a community partner in ensuring that older adults in our community are able to stay connected, safe, and healthy. And whereas the Mount Si Senior Center affirms the dignity, self-worth, and independence of older persons by facilitating their decisions and actions, tapping their experiences, skills, and knowledge, and enabling their continued contributions to the community. Now, therefore, I, Mary Miller, Mayor, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as Senior Center Month in the city of North Bend and call upon all citizens to recognize the special contributions of the Senior Center participants and the special efforts of the staff and volunteers who work every day to enhance the well-being of our older citizens of our community. Thank you very much. Don't believe we have anyone representing Senior Center, but we'll definitely take note. Thank you, everybody. Okay, moving on to introductions. Item number 11, AB 25-090, ordinance amending NBMC 10.20 motorized foot scooters. Mr. Henderson, we've all been awaiting. Please provide the staff report for us tonight, and thank you.
Great. Yes, thank you all, Mayor and council members. Good to see you all tonight. The proposed ordinance addresses the potential safety issues of e-motorcycles and was developed based on discussions at a city council work study on July 22nd, 2025. The proposed ordinance would amend existing North Bend Municipal Code 10.20 to address e-motorcycles and e-scooters. It changes the title of Chapter 10.20 from motorized scooters to motorized personal transportation devices. This would expand the category of the chapter to address potential safety concerns from e-motorcycles, as well as provide an option to council to address safety issues from existing and future motorized transportation devices. For e-motorcycles, the proposed ordinance would establish the equipment and operation requirements for an e-motorcycle as defined by RCW 46.61.705 that governs off-road motorcycles. It would define an e-motorcycle as a 2- or 3-wheeled motor vehicle powered solely by electricity and not equipped with fully operated pedals. Requires that an e-motorcycle be registered with the Washington State Department of Licensing and display a valid license plate. Requires the operator of an e-motorcycle to have a valid driver's license and motorcycle endorsement. Prohibits guardians from authorizing or knowingly permitting a minor in their care to operate an e-motorcycle and make them subject to fines. And finally, it requires that an e-motorcycle obey all traffic laws and any infractions are subject to a monetary penalty. For e-scooters, the proposed ordinance would change the lawful age to operate a motorized scooter from 16 to 12 years of age, reduce the lawful speed of e-scooters from 25 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour, and allow e-scooter use on sidewalks. I received a number of questions from council members this morning about requiring helmets for e-scooters and e-motorcycles, as well as passengers on e-scooters. The current code requires a helmet to operate an e-scooter, and the proposed ordinance would also require a helmet to operate an e-motorcycle. In addition, the current code makes it unlawful to carry a passenger on an e-scooter, and the proposed ordinance would also make it unlawful to have a passenger on an e-motorcycle. A draft ordinance was presented and reviewed at the Public Health and Safety Committee on August 5th, 2025, and they recommended placement on the main agenda. The following alternatives are available to City Council. The first alternative is to approve the ordinance amending NBMC Chapter 10.20, motorized foot scooters as presented. The second alternative would be to table the ordinance to a future City Council session and provide additional feedback and guidance to staff to amend Chapter 10.20. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Council, do you have any clarifying questions for James? Heather.
I find the way that it's written confusing, and I'm wondering if we could have an ordinance for e-motorcycles and then a separate one for e-scooters. And I guess this is a legal question, or I found the wording confusing.
Councilmember Cullen, yes, we could revise the ordinance as council wishes. I think the appropriate order might be a motion and opening the floor to any amendments should you desire, but separating out e-motorcycles from foot scooters and e-bikes and golf carts is one path that the council could choose to take to regulate these devices.
Thank you. Brennan.
Yeah, I feel like this needs a little bit more soak time as well. Just question, James, and thank you for a very thoughtful compilation of how we should start tackling this and thinking through this. There's a lot of great detail in here. My first question is essentially, do we know what our neighboring communities are doing, what sort of ordinances, and how does this mirror or reflect And one of the purposes for that question is, I mean, I know we have our police services contract with Snoqualmie. That will be transitioning to King County, but King County is also a policing agency for other communities, and having applicable laws or laws that are consistent with other communities that our police service agents are actually managing would make sense. So I'm just curious, and that was a long-winded question. I apologize for that.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, we sort of got the idea for this ordinance from City of Issaquah, who's been also facing e-motorcycle issues there as well. So that's where this came from. And then working with the legal team, really sort of crafted this based on that work study back in July. I believe Interim Chief Gary has been working with Snoqualmie on potential e-motorcycle ordinance. So I'll let him answer any questions you may have regarding the City of Snoqualmie.
Okay, that'd be great. If I could just volley that question over to you, Chief, that'd be great.
So we are looking at all options as far as what other cities are doing. Bothell, Mercer Island, Issaquah, us in both cities are all looking at what we can apply forward. I've worked with Kendra on this. We've been sharing thoughts and ideas based on what we're seeing. Issaquah is currently working on one. Don't know where it is in their process. Right now, we are working solely off of the RCW for both cities on e-motorcycles. The difference between North Bend and Snoqualmie, for example, is we both have somewhat of scooter ordinances, and there's no e-bike ordinance here in the city of North Bend, but there is in Snoqualmie. One of the things that we've discussed is kind of looking at having them mirror as close as possible, because we all have common trails.
Right.
So, they're all riding between the two cities on those common trails. So right now, anything on the roadway, as far as an e-motorcycle, is being enforced under the RCW, which is applied a lot in this ordinance, which is requirements for helmets, registrations, lighting, mirrors, all that stuff.
That consistency makes sense. Otherwise, it turns into a Smokey and the Bandit paradigm where across the jurisdiction line and see ya.
Yes.
Second question, and thank you for being here to answer this one. I think this is better directed for you. One of the concerns I know I have is just safety, kids getting hurt. They're being kids, they're having fun, they're doing their thing. Parents, who knows where the parents are involved with that, but what sort of stats do you have insofar as any sort of accidents, records, numbers of complaints? I know we as council get a lot of emails from concerned residents as well.
So as far as accidents, I don't have a lot of stats here for you right now. Complaints, we average, if you average it out, granted, you have to consider the time of the year. Anytime the kids are out of school, we get more complaints. For instance, spring break was a big one. Summertime is a big one. We got quite a few, a little bit of a spike right after Christmas when these
Everybody
were
got
probably
one.
given as gifts. And with school starting, we're gonna see a little bit of a decrease in some of those complaints, but if you average them out over the last year, it's averaged about 12 calls a month based on looking at certain particular ways they're reported. Sometimes they're reported as suspicious activity, sometimes they're reported as an e-bike issue, sometimes they're reported as a reckless driving, and all of those. So we have to go through and look at them individually based on how that call is received. So based off of what I can tell you is we're averaging about 12 or so a month in each city. We've impounded since the beginning of July 8 bikes in Snoqualmie, and I want to say it was 7 here. And I say bikes, those are the motorcycles because they're classified as motor vehicles. They have VINs and they should be registered. So we have impounded those. Since starting that, we have seen a decrease, but that still doesn't give you anything on the books here to kind of match for our off-road trails, especially. So that's one of the reasons that we've started putting this together. And obviously, it's been a big topic for the last year and a half that I've been here.
Well, thank you for that. And that was one of my concerns, is eating up your guys' precious time to have to navigate through these kind of calls and what that means budget-wise, and where you guys are attending your services at.
It takes a lot of staff time.
Yeah.
And at which public safety meeting was it? June? No. I want to say it was July. I actually brought in a sample of a sign that we started using over in Snoqualmie on Center Boulevard, where we were having a lot of issues on them operating on the sidewalks and hitting people. So there's been a lot of talk and a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I want to say Mark was even working on looking at utilizing that same design. So it is kind of been a lot of time put into it.
Thank you.
Any other
This
questions?
could be for Kendra or Chief. How do you know if it's a 12-year-old on the e-scooter? How do we quantify that?
Well, usually when we make contact, we're able to identify them. So what we're doing is if we make contact and they don't run from us on these high-speed devices, because we're not pursuing those at that point, because I don't want to cause, have them get into a wreck or something. Once we identify them, we're notifying parents. If it's classified as a motor vehicle or a motorcycle, then we will impound them. And then we are writing cases and forwarding them up to the prosecutor's office for review. So to clarify that a little bit, we can't write a 12-year-old, for example, a ticket like I would if I stopped you for speeding or running a stop sign. So we forward a case up and they review it at that point and make their decision on what they're going to do.
Anybody else? No? Okay, so I'm unclear exactly what you want to do. Well,
Yeah, we put a motion on the table.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, here's the motion. Councilmember Rustic, will you please make the motion?
Yes. Motion to approve AB 25-090, an ordinance amending the North Bend Municipal Code, Chapter 10.20, to define and regulate electric motorcycles and electric scooters as a first and final reading.
Second.
Thank you very much. Motion by Ms. Rustic and seconded by Mr. Gottelf. Ms. Rustic, would you like to comment to your motion?
Yes, thank you. This topic was discussed at Public Health and Safety Committee since early March with the goal of ensuring public safety and providing the Snoqualmie Police Department with the tools they need to ensure public safety. Both the police and the city staff have completed considerable research to provide a proposal to council, which was reviewed at a prior work study as well. The ordinance before you tonight supports the input of council and residents from a variety of perspectives. And I will be supporting this ordinance, and I hope you will as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gottelf, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I understand fellow council members are concerned. This has been before public safety multiple times. We've worked very closely with Interim Chief Harasi over this multiple times. We've made multiple changes to this. One of the reasons we brought down the scooter down to a 12-year-old age was because the reality it is kids under 16 are on these scooters, and wanting to have something on there to give parents some guidance on, yes, they can do it, and being able to allow them to be on the sidewalk and make sure helmets are done. I encourage our council members to move this forward tonight. It's been working. It's been worked through the committees for quite a bit of time, and I think it's probably a good legislation and time to move forward to make sure that we give our officers and our legal team what they need to be able to do this and allow us to start to message this out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else from council wish to make any more comments? Okay, Brendan, then Heather.
Thank you. And I appreciate the amount of time and dedication that's gone into bringing this forward. And I appreciate the committee's work and actually bringing it to the full council. I'm not there yet fully on every bullet that I'm reading on this introduction. I support having an ordinance here. It seems a little, I would like more time with it. I was hoping that you were going to make a motion for alternative number 2, where we can have more collective conversations about it. And I'm surprised that I'm not seeing more parents here to speak on it, given the amount of emails that we've had and received so far. So I wonder if there's an awareness thing that maybe more community involvement should be involved with this, because it's impacting so many people. I can't support alternative number 1 at this time, but I can support alternative number 2. I'm not sure how we can make that change, if you two would even be open for that. But that's where I currently am with this particular ordinance.
Brendan and Heather.
This is for Kendra, I guess. If we did vote on this tonight for this ordinance, could we amend it? Brendan's not feeling great about it. I'm not feeling great about it at a later date.
Yes, Councilmember. So once the ordinance, if it passes, it would be codified and put into our municipal code. But there is no prohibition from you requesting staff through the proper channels to ask us to make certain amendments or changes. In fact, I think staff somewhat anticipates some evolution of changes because we have not articulated any regulations for e-bikes in this ordinance because of the continuing conversations.
Does that help? Okay, Errol.
Yeah, I don't love it. I'm not gonna lie. I think there is a strong conversation that needs to be had. I'd like more input from the louder voices that I've heard from. I think my feedback, so for staff would be alternative 2 would be, this is such a hot topic that's evolving so rapidly, I would say. I mean, I think the conversation today is very different than it was 6 months ago. I would rather see a separate ordinance for e-scooters and a separate one for e-motorcycles. I want to be very clear with the public what we're talking about. I want to be very clear on defining what is an e-motorcycle, what is an e-bike, how are they different. I know we've had those conversations in work study. I don't think it's clear as written, and the public's not going to pull up that work study. So I want to be careful before we make policy to make sure that it's clear on what we are actually saying. I just had this conversation in the neighborhood regarding the school district that made policy this year that I think is really poorly written, and a lot of parents have issue with it. And so as a policymaker here, I want to be clear. I don't make the mistake I just voiced my opinion on with another group. And I want to be very cognizant of what we do. I don't take policy making lightly. I think it's important. I think all the intent is right here. I just think it needs to be separated and really defined. So not only the parents, but frankly, I think the kids that want to ride these things should be able to understand what are we talking about. I don't want them to feel, I don't want the families that are using these things for recreational purposes to feel like we're taking something away from them. I want it to be highlighted through as a public safety need. And for that to happen, I think it has to be very clearly defined on what we're talking about.
Thanks, Errol. Anybody else? Okay. We can go one more round.
Oh, wait.
No, I think, well, we both talked already, so it continues.
So question for Kendra, I believe. If we were to remove the last bullet of the current ordinance regarding the motorized scooters, whereas the rest of them are related to e-motorcycles, could we vote to support that? So then it would be just a modification of e-motorcycles only.
I apologize, Councilmember Russick. I'm not sure I tracked that. Are you referring to the agenda bill bullet or
Yes, the agenda bill bullet. The majority of them relate to e-motorcycles and the last one is related to e-scooters. So my question is, if we made an amendment, could we approve this motion, or could we go review and see if we could get approval on the e-motorcycle piece?
So the agenda bill, the bullet points there are not part of what would become law. Okay. So then when we get down to, I'm on a PDF, so it's PDF page 97. That's the start of our ordinance with Exhibit A being the law. And under Chapter 1020 of the Municipal Code, we would be making these modifications. And the way it was presented and requested and the way we've drafted it, similar to other jurisdictions, it's modifying the motorized foot scooter and electric motorcycle throughout Chapter 1020.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Alan.
Yeah, I understand my fellow council members' concerns. My only concern is that we not let this languish. I understand that we have parents that have bought it, but we're coming up to the holiday season. And I think it's important for us as a body to clarify that before this time, before people invest more money into it. This is a risk to the community, and this is a risk to those parents who don't understand the severity of some of these, the difference between an e-motorcycle and an e-bicycle. We've seen them in our communities on areas that they shouldn't be. I've seen people almost get hurt on them. This has not been taken lightly by the committee or the people that have worked on it, including the attorney and the other people. But so if we're gonna not approve it tonight, I would like to see us have a certain date really quickly to turn around so that as we get closer, because people start looking end of September, October, Costco starts putting stuff out there for the holidays. I think it's important for us to have this out here before the holidays, before parents make investments in play areas that may be risk to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Yeah, Susan.
Uh-oh. So we've been working on this since March, and it's a complicated issue. But the biggest issue is safety, and not having anything in the books means the police officers can't do anything about it. By having at least something, I know it's not perfect, but for a long time, no one knew the difference between an e-bike and an e-motorcycle, and this at least gives a little bit more clarity. And we also were missing about, it just seemed like we didn't have an age limit for the scooters. So I feel like something is better than nothing, and it's not like we're writing it in stone and can't make modifications. And like we said, we are planning on doing more modifications. There's more things coming down the pike. We're still researching with other communities. Everybody, I think all the cities in Washington State are concerned about this. So I would rather have something on the books and then continue to modify and make it better as we go. But by not doing something, what if something happens from now to the next time we put something on the books, which could be 2 months from now? I mean, are we going to feel guilty? We didn't have anything on the books. We could have prevented it. I'd rather have it put on the books now and then continue to work on it as there's new information that will come down from other agencies. And I plan to support this.
Thank you, Susan. And Brendan.
Thank you. And I just want to be clear, I have tremendous respect for all the thought that's gone into this. I would ask my colleagues to just pause for a minute on just putting codes to get it on the book, thinking that we'll revise it later. That's a process in and of itself. It's hard to get back to do it. We have to make it a priority on the agendas. It confuses residents when you put something on the books and so forth. Snoqualmie Police Department, the motto, no call is too small. We heard it from the chief. They're already addressing calls for reckless e-scootering. I don't even know if that's a verb or what that would be. So I think the police department is already addressing it as best they can. I agree that we need to keep this conversation going and that this should be a priority. I don't see this particular package of it as the appropriate one for this point. So I just like you guys to think about the process of revising a code again and again. And as you said, Ms. Torgerson, there's a lot of research. Other communities are still trying to figure out what to do with it. So nobody knows fully yet. So I would just encourage you guys to think about that point.
Thank you, Brendan. Okay, I think we've done the table a couple times. All right, the motion for us is to approve AB 25-090, an ordinance amending MBMC Chapter 10.20 to define and regulate electric motorcycles and electric
Point of order.
scooters. Yes.
Got a question for legal?
Yeah.
It seems like we're going to end up with a tie. I don't want this to die. And I'm under the impression if it goes 3-3, it does die. Is that not correct?
An ordinance requires 4 votes to pass.
So I'm going to encourage the maker and I'm going to encourage us to step back from this. And if we're going to not pass this and it's going to die, I would like to see it come back at a certain date within the next, make this a priority because like I said, we're coming into the holiday season and there is a huge, I think our residents need to understand what is in this ordinance, like you said, and what they should or should not be looking at when they start to buy these for their children.
Point of information.
Yep.
If there's a tie, does the mayor break the tie?
In certain circumstances, the mayor would have the right, but not the obligation to break a tie vote.
Thank you. This is great fun, everybody. All right, well, I'm going to choose to go forward and break the tie if we do that. So that's and I have reasons for that too. So if we want to continue on, we're welcome to. If you'd like me to continue reading, I'm happy to. Yep.
Point of order, Your Honor. What or where are we at in the procedure? I'm lost. Are we rescinding it to vote in alternative number 2? You said that you're willing to break a tie. I haven't even heard your perspective on this particular ordinance yet.
Well,
that would be great to just
You
hear.
got it. What I'm thinking.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Can I just interrupt for one moment? Please proceed as regarding all the different procedural options, but just to be clear, under the RCW applicable to specifically an ordinance and voting, the mayor in this circumstance most likely would not be eligible to break a tie. So I just wanted to put that out. I know you were going to offer some comments, but most likely you were not eligible to break a tie in this.
You said not eligible?
Correct.
That's fine. Appreciate that. Okay. Good to know. Learning up here as we go. Okay, so let's take it back a notch. So we're back at square one. So potentially we've got a 3-3. Am I hearing that across the table?
Point of information. Maybe it's a point of order. But my understanding is because the motion's on the floor, doesn't the mayor own the motion at this particular point in time? And would it be the mayor's obligation to either kick it back to the original motion? I can't remember the parliamentary procedure on this particular.
I think you're on track though.
Engineering it. But yeah.
The original motion that is still pending on the floor is to approve AB 25090 as read by the agenda bill. Should a council member wish to make a motion to amend, for example, to table it to the next regular city council meeting or to revise the ordinance, such council member can make that motion.
I would like to make that motion to amendment to the next city council meeting.
That's accurate that she can do that.
Oh, there's a motion on the floor.
The motion, we're taking this motion, but
The council member can make the motion to table it to the next regular city council meeting. Correct.
that's possible.
Okay, I'll second it so we can discuss it.
Okay, so let's get going on that. So let's finish up that motion first of all, right?
Well, we need to discuss the amendment first.
So we're putting that off to the side.
We're taking the original motion to the side.
Yes.
Now we can discuss the
amendment.
that councilman.
So let's do that.
Okay, so one of the logistics that we need to have answered if we are going to move it to the next meeting is will staff and the administration actually have time to assemble some sort of presentation with us at an upcoming work study or some special meeting so that we can actually meet on this, do the debating, the conversing that we need to do so that when we come back to the next council meeting, we can actually make it so we're not sitting in the stalemate. So that's a logistical question because that may impact us keeping that amendment on the floor or amending that amendment to be a different date further down the road.
Okay, I don't know if we can ask that of staff in this immediate moment to have a, but we can do that.
Well, we can.
I mean, if all the staff is here to talk about it, I know Mike's not here. James is the only.
So I think the question is what would we like to see? So if we want it pulled apart, if we want it, what do we want to see from? So I've heard lots of conversation on pulling each of them separate. What does this look like? More thought going into how it's written. So I think to answer your question is what do we want to see? And then we can answer if it's early October that we're bringing it back. I don't think 2 weeks is a good turnaround time to get all that done and be thoughtful.
Great.
So a date certain, as council member said, what date are we looking for to make sure that we have that answered for you?
Some time. Thank you, Amber. Okay. Al?
Yeah, because what I fear is going to happen at this point is the second motion is going to go down at a 3-3. The reality of it is we need to get this done as quick as possible. I can't stress it more than anything else. Our next work study is when? The what, 23rd?
23rd. And
So let's amend that to bring it to work study in order to bring it to the following council meeting for approval.
So that'd be end of September.
Right. Does
So-
that sound?
So to that end, if we were to entertain that planning, then what's the procedure to amend the amendment?
Well,
Because we need to say a date.
How about we ask Councilman Cullen to withdraw her motion, and I will make a new motion to the work study and to, since I'm on here, right, to do the next council meeting after that. Does that sound fair?
And I believe the mayor has to recognize that. And does the seconder of that motion also have to agree, or is it just the primary motion maker rescinding? The vote, right?
I hope it's received in the way I intended. It's a subsidiary motion that we're currently contemplating. And so Councilmember Cullen, should she wish to do so, she may rescind that subsidiary motion and a different motion could be offered.
Thank you.
Okay, I feel like I'm eating scrambled eggs, just so you know. And I like it. Yeah, okay, so let's take it away. Heather. She doesn't have to.
She can either rescind or choose not to rescind, in which case I believe we'd have to vote on the amendment, in which case I'd expect that amendment to fail. And then another council member would then make a new amendment to a date certain, and then we'd spell out the September council meeting. I believe that's where we're at in this flow, Your Honor.
Thank you for the flow.
I would like to rescind my motion to the Allen plan. It sounds like a good one. Yeah, I know.
Okay, so I'd like to command this ordinance to the next work study in order to bring it forward to the September
23rd work study, October 7th council meeting.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, and I have to repeat all that. Just kidding. Just kidding. Thank you.
Point of order on this particular one.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion made by Mr. Galtoff and second by Ms. Rustic. Thank you very much for this riveting conversation and debate.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
So my understanding is clear. You've just made an amendment to the main motion. So in which case we'll do the planning. Then when we come back on the September, whatever that is, council meeting date, the motion on the floor that we will take up is alternative number 1, correct? Because that motion maintains through time. Well, we've tabled the. We've tabled the
Point of order. What we're doing is we're tabling what's written for the next meeting. So if we're amending what's written, this can't be voted on.
Correct.
It has to be voted on the floor, up or down.
So,
and then you can write a new motion or a new resolution for the future.
and if we're telepathing the same thing, my assumption would be that the original motion maker of alternative number 1 should rescind that motion and then make the new motion for the date certain. Would that be correct?
So this is a subsidiary motion. This is not a primary motion. If the council wishes to vote on this motion to postpone to a certain time, as Councilmember Godhealth has raised that motion, we've done the debate. We can proceed to that motion at a later time when it comes back. This can come back as new and different legislation in some ways, and the agenda bill is not necessarily binding authority for the path forward. So we can hear and adapt to council's comments in the work study.
But there will only be one motion on the agenda bill that night when we come back, which is alternative number 1, correct?
I don't think we were even.
There'll be no alternative.
That's what I'm saying. It's just to vote to approve it up or down. Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted clarification on.
We're good? Okay.
Do you, Mayor, do you need to summarize that?
Oh, I would have a little help. Thank you for that.
Kendra, can you?
Great. Yeah. I thought we'd be out of here early tonight. That's why they call it Jurassic Parliament, maybe.
Take a moment, pause here.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the agenda bill number. I happened to hit the wrong button on my screen and it closed it.
We got it. Yes.
Mine breaks, but I can also do this. The motion on the floor is to postpone AB 25-090 to the September 23rd work study, and for the legislation to come back to the regular city council meeting on October 7th.
I'm sorry, what was that date again? October? Okay.
So September 23rd and October 7th.
Okay. All right, so subsidiary motion, this is new. I like it. All right, new to me, I should say. The motion is to postpone the AB 25-085 motion authorizing amendment to, AB 25-090, excuse me, ordinance amending MC 10.20 motorized foot scooters, to work study of September 23rd, and the rest is
council meeting on October 7th.
And also to the council meeting on October 7th, 2025. Okay. Would you like to read that back to us if you don't mind? Did that come out clear enough?
You got it.
Okay, good. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries and is unanimous at 6-0. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to get this right. All right, the last item on our agenda tonight was moved from the consent agenda earlier, like I said, at number 4. It's AB 25-085, motion authorizing amendment to SCORE jail service contracts. Let's see. Mr. Rigos. Mr. Racy, where are you? Sorry, Mark. Thanks for coming up again, and thanks for being with us tonight.
I'm bringing my computer this time. Mayor, council members, staff. Back in roughly 2020 or 2015, the city entered into an interlocal agreement with the SCORE jail. Every year, SCORE reserves the right to increase their fees just as Issaquah, Sunnyside, Yakima, and King County do. With that, SCORE is our secondary booking facility. So we will try to book into Issaquah jail first, and then anything with mental health or that needs a little bit more medical attention, we will book into SCORE, with the third immediate booking into King County jail. Long-term commits go to Yakima and Sunnyside, and those are those who are committed over 30 days after going through the process. Back in July, SCORE sent a rate increase for 2026 to us, increasing their booking fees from $80 to $95. Their guaranteed beds, which we do not have, so I'll skip to the non-guaranteed beds, from 213 for 2025 to 223.83. And then mental health beds went from 170 to 178. For residential beds, acute medical beds went from 232 to 244. And then mental health acute beds went from 297 to 312. They also included in there an additional transportation security fee. So this is something that if somebody needs to be transported to the hospital, until we get there or I'm able to provide staff to get to that particular hospital, they sit on that person. That doesn't happen very often. They usually give us a heads up as soon as they call for an aid crew to respond. But that's $94 an hour. And then they have a virtual court fee of $75. We've been booking, I can't tell you how many we have booked into there at the moment, but this is something that we regularly use. It's approximately a 5% increase on their bed rates. And that is standard over the last several years, that's what those bed rates go up for SCORE. Issaquah is about the same. I think this last year they had a little bit higher increase. Most increases that we see in jails right now are contributed to the increase in medical cost for their on staff. It's also an increase in court costs, things like that, transportation, just like, we have on our daily basis or within the city, whether it's police, public works, or whatever. So those are that's kind of the gist of what we're looking at. And you can see those adjustments, and that is something that just happens kind of annually, and we've been working through that the last several years. So I'm happy to take any questions y'all may have.
Thank you, Interim Chief. Any questions, comments for Interim Chief? Susan.
First of all, I want to say thank you for finding us jail services that are more affordable. I know there's a lot of options out there and they're not so affordable. So I just wanted to highlight, I think that these particular fees are really good in comparison to some other jails. So I just wanted to say thank you for finding us good fees.
Thank you, Susan. Anybody else? No? All right. Okay, let's go on to the motion then. Okay. Sure, that'd be great. Christina?
All right.
Great.
Thank you. Motion to approve AB 25-085, authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the interlocal agreement with SCORE for jail services in a form and content acceptable to the city attorney.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Chair Rustic and seconded by Mr. Gottel. Would you like to speak to your motion, Christina?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have had a number of conversations about jail services, and I know Councilmember Torgerson was part of the conversation today regarding what King County has increased their prices to, and it's quite significant. We know that the increase in fees here for SCORE have gone up, but as Councilmember Torgerson mentioned, we continue to look for the lower cost options and appreciate Snoqualmie Police Department's efforts to help us with that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gottel. If you have any comments to make.
Yeah, I think the statement was biggest thing here was to show that it is a lower cost alternative. Again, want to thank Interim Chief Hiroshi for all of his hard work. He has worked very hard and brought multiple items before us to try to bring down those costs. And so I want to also acknowledge his work. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from council have comments to make this time? No. All right. Okay. Motion to approve AB 25-085, authorizing mayor to execute an amendment into the interlocal agreement with SCORE for jail services in a form and content acceptable to the city attorney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor. Thank you very much, one and all. Well, 6-0, unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on, and thank you, Interim Chief, also for your time and effort. Let's see, moving on to Council Administrator Conserves and Initiatives. Let's start with Mr. Gottel tonight, please.
Thank you. I know that one of our members here spoke up about speeds. I'm constantly bringing that up. I'm beginning to feel like I'm a broken record. You can slow down. You can get home maybe 2 minutes longer than it takes you, but you'll get home and everybody will be safe. If you hit somebody out there, I'm sure you won't like how long it will take, and you won't like the feeling you're going to have to deal with the rest of your life. So please do slow down. In closing, also on this ordinance that we just went through, this is really important because it's something that a lot of times in government, we wait a lot of times until something happens before we make this important decisions as a city. And I implore us to take a look at this, understand it, understand the reasons why the Public Safety Committee has worked on it at least 3 different times and why we're passionate about bringing this forward to this community. It is about public safety. In all the years I've been, 18 years involved in this community, public safety has been number one, and it should be the number one item for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen and Christina.
Yes, thank you. So beginning today through Apple Cup Saturday on September 20th, please help support a great cause and score some points for your favorite team between the University of Washington and Washington State University by donating food to the Snoqualmie Food Bank. 7 items will equal a touchdown and 3 items will equal a field goal. And donations can be delivered here in the hall at North Bend City Hall, or you can PM me if you can't make it here and would like a porch pickup. So just wanted to put that out there. And one other item, back to school time. Empower Youth Network is looking for mentors for this school year. And there's a mentor meetup on Tuesday, September 16th at 10 to 11:30 at the Starbucks up next to Mod Pizza on Snoqualmie Parkway. If you want to find out more information, or you can reach out to me and I will put you in touch with people that can give you more information. And that's all I had. Thank you.
You, Chris. Errol.
Yeah, we had 2 car accidents at local businesses in back-to-back days almost at Ignite Dance Theater or Studio and right next door at Bread and Bone. So I would encourage all of us to support the community, go out, buy a cup of coffee, grab a snack from our Andy and Nick over at Bread and Bone, maybe buy some tickets for an Ignite show this year. Those type of things surprise businesses, and it's not great. And also just a reminder, we're at the tail end of summer. We're all out and about. Fall, winter is tough on our small businesses. So now we're heading into that 3, 4, 6 month period where we actually really need to support them. So as the weather turns a little bit, don't forget and make sure we take care of our own businesses here in town.
Thank you, Errol. And Heather.
I want to thank King County Rescue and Search for being here tonight. It was very meaningful for me personally. I would also like to say school has started and there's a lot of construction happening in our town. So be very cautious of that when you're driving around during school hours, or always.
Thank you. Susan.
Yes, winter's coming. Just want to let you all know. That means there's going to be a lot of weather.
Heard that somewhere. Wait a minute.
And so what I'm doing is I'm going to start working on my yard, which means I'm going to be cutting up a bunch of stuff. And what's the great thing about the city of North Bend is on Saturday, September 13th, we have the yard waste recycle event from 8 a.m. to 12. It's going to be at the North Bend Public Works building, which is just down a couple of blocks. You can bring in grass clippings, leaves, weeds, and some branches that are, small. So cut them up with your small little devices. Anyway, that'll help you clear your yard for all the rain and hopefully not have any gutters and all sorts of issues, flooding, that kind of thing. And just be prepared. That's all I got.
Thank you, Brendan.
Nice. Winter's coming. Game of Thrones series, I remember that. My wife's name is Winter, and when she used to work in retail, her staff would hear her walking down the hall and they would, "Winter's coming, quick." So that sentence goes a long way in our house. First, I just want to reiterate my gratitude and appreciation to volunteers, especially those of you that put your life on the line to help others and make sure other people get home safe and sound. It's amazing. It's amazing commitment to the community at large, to what you guys do. And it's truly impressive. So thank you. And thank you again for coming and delivering a fantastic presentation, which also drove greater awareness of who you are in my mind. So I definitely appreciate that. And even down to our teenage volunteer who joined our park commission, Aileen, I believe her name was. It comes at all angles. And so hopefully she'll be inspired to continue on as well. So thank you to all the volunteers out there.
that do wonderful things for your community. It's truly impressive, and I respect and appreciate everyone that does that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Amber.
I just have one quick item this evening, and Phil, if you could bring up the images for me that I sent over to you. So we've sent around, Martin sent around, I think 4 times now, the last version of the King County Sheriff patch for North Bend. And so we've gotten some great feedback from Mayor and Councilmember Torgensen, and we've sculpted the mountain, shrank the river. The top image is the last one that we have. And I wanted to get council's feedback tonight before we give the green light. And
Can we zoom in a bit more over here?
Phil, yes.
Awesome job.
Yeah. We started from a very bare patch, and we've taken all the feedback, and this is where we are. I think it's beautiful, and we took it to a staff event, and staff overwhelmingly supported it as well. But we wanted to get your feedback this evening before we gave the green light with this important inaugural patch that we have.
Have at it, everybody. We'd like to talk, if anyone.
Okay. Okay.
Here, we're cheering.
Okay.
I think
Great.
it's fantastic.
Board? Fantastic.
Thank you for that. We'll move
There's
right with
Bigfoot.
you. Do you want to put it on there? We can put it in there. Thank you all very much.
How do I follow this? I don't know. I'm going to try. The sidewalk gap removal project is beginning this first week of September on Thrasher Avenue Northeast. Residents should expect temporary lane closures at the project as the project progresses. The result of this project will be a new sidewalk on the east side of Thrasher Avenue with curb, gutter, and new sidewalk and new stormwater improvements, and including improvements to the North Bend Way intersection. Bloodworks Northwest is hosting a blood drive at City Hall tomorrow, Tuesday, September 3rd. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. just before Halloween. This has got some excitement. Can we bring it again in October? Just saying, just kidding. You can sign up for an appointment on Bloodworks Northwest website. And also the popular Sip Suds and Psy event is happening on September 13th, from 6 to 9 p.m. here in North Bend. Grab your friends for a self-guided evening of tasting and exploring the charm of downtown North Bend. For more information, check out the community calendar on city website. Stage 2 of the city's water conservation ordinance went into effect on August 20th. To find out more about when you can water your lawn and garden during Stage 2 and other water conservation tips, please visit this new section of the city website. And like everybody else pretty much on this council tonight, we will really appreciate presenters tonight. SER, thank you so much for all that you do. You humble and amazing heroes. Thank you so much. So have a great night, everybody. Please be safe. We're into school now and all that comes with it. And if you need any help, please reach out to your council members and mayor. We're happy to help you. Have a great night, everybody.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. Okay, that was great.
Aye.
Take it away. Thank you.